Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin and I wanted to share another 10 ideas of things to do instead of spending money. I've been really enjoying doing these videos and it helps me too to come up with ideas and to have them ready, like at my fingertips, of things to do instead of just like going to the shop or finding reasons to spend money. If you can hear snoring, my dog is sleeping beside me, so there's nothing alarming. He had a long walk and now he's tired out and he's on his wee bed. So I don't know how to stop my pigtails from flicking up. I feel like it looks kind of like a cartoon character, but I think they're just like, it's because it's short and they're in really tight. I have a caramel latte and I might make some gingerbread syrup after this because I'm missing my pumpkin one, but I feel like it's not the season for it anymore. Okay, so number one of my ideas of things to do instead of spending money is to write down stories that you would want to tell your grandchildren. Just think of anything that has happened to you that has been really interesting, or think about anything that made you laugh. I have so many ridiculous stories and I do write books and stuff, so I do like always write stuff down. But it's funny that when you start writing about something, you remember all these really vivid details about it that you'd forgotten about until that moment. And I think it would be fun to receive that from a grandparent or someone in your family, like at some point later on, and to be able to read back over their like unique memories and read them in detail as if you're reliving them yourself. And even just for your own entertainment, like writing down funny stories, like you can read through them whenever you're feeling a bit low and it will cheer you up. Number two is to listen to a motivational podcast. And I find it helpful doing that whenever you are trying to get stuff done around the house that you really can't be bothered doing, because it gets you in the right frame of mind. And it's kind of like a kick up the backside to get stuff done. And it doesn't have to be anything like, the only word I can think of right now is cringy, and I blame my children for that. And it doesn't have to be really in your face and something that would like make you like internally cringe, but like it can be whatever you personally find to be motivating. Like maybe you want someone to talk about their cleaning routine, or maybe you want somebody to talk about how they've sorted out their garden, or maybe it's like about personal growth, or there are just so many different kinds that you can listen to. Like you can kind of develop as a person while you're doing all of the tedious things around the house, because I find that if I don't listen to something or have like something interesting that I'm thinking about while I'm cleaning, I could very easily get bored with it. If you can shift your focus to the thing that you are listening to, you don't even realize that you're cleaning. And it doesn't have to be when you're cleaning, it could be when you go for a walk or any other time you like, but I just use them whenever I'm cleaning because it's something I don't want to do basically. Number three is to copy out your bank statements by hand and then to go through and highlight everything you didn't want to buy. And although this might be like a painful task in a way, and it's like you're having to face up to like information that you don't want to know, it is really helpful in figuring out where your money is actually going and changing your habits. Because anytime that I have budgeted really well and saved a lot of money in a short period of time, it has been after doing this practice, because it confronts you with the figures and you see the total of all of the small purchases you make. You can see the patterns and where your downfall kind of lies, and I just think it's really eye-opening to look through it and to work out the grand total, because if you buy yourself something that's like a couple of pounds here and there, you're not really going to notice it. But then when you sit down and add it up and see how much it's actually affecting your finances, it really does change your mindset. And it's something that I actually quite enjoy doing. There's something quite relaxing about sitting and copying it all out by hand. And I think that things sink in more when you do them by hand. I always found that in school, if I was revising, if I copied stuff out by hand, I would remember it much better than if I was just reading it. Number four is to start a blog, and it doesn't have to be like as a career option, it can just be for fun or for you. It's basically just like having a diary online, and you can write about whatever you want, and you can get a free site, and it doesn't, like, you don't have to do anything fancy. You can just write anything you want, and it could end up developing into something bigger, but like just do it for the joy of it. And I had a blog, I'll link it below, that I wrote on for a long time. I haven't in a while now, but I did find it really like satisfying writing on it and documenting our experiences, and it's nice to have that record of them, and I can always look back on it now. But yeah, like there's so many topics you can write about, and if it's completely up to you what you put on there, and no one else can kind of dictate like what you can or can't write. So yeah, I think it's a good use of time, and it's something to do that's completely free, and it's quite time consuming too, because you end up, you're always kind of on the hunt for photos for it, or you're like editing, or you're looking for content for it, and that is very time consuming, which would take away from other activities where you're spending money. Number 5 is to start a gratitude journal. I see lots of these in shops whenever I'm out and about, and it can be tempting to buy one sometimes because you think that it's going to be like a guided journal and it's going to be so much more valuable. But actually, like, all you need to do is sit down and write like a set number of things a day that you're grateful for. And I always find that if I'm in a really sluggish mood and I'm feeling kind of negative about things, if I do this practice, even if I really don't feel like it, afterwards I feel like a different person. Like, it just completely changes your mindset, and it makes you focus on the positives, and because you're looking for them, I feel like more of them appear. It makes you focus on what you already have instead of seeking something new all the time. So number 6 is to use websites like Supercook to help you with your cooking and to help you to become more creative in the kitchen. I really like that website for whenever we're getting low on groceries and I'm not in the mood that day to go shopping and I want to kind of stretch out what we have, because you can type in every ingredient that you have in your pantry and it comes up with every single recipe that you can make out of those ingredients. And it just is a really helpful tool to have, because sometimes you're out of ideas and you feel like there's nothing left to make anything out of, but it would surprise you how many things they can come up with for you. And putting in all of the ingredients you have in your kitchen is a time-consuming task too. Like, it could take a whole afternoon, and it's just a good way of making you focus on what's in front of you already and making the best of it instead of going out and buying new things. Number 7 is to tackle the to-do list that you've been avoiding. I know that there are certain to-dos like that we have that you're forced to do because there's like a deadline, but I have so many that I put off all the time because there's no looming deadline and it isn't urgent necessarily, so I just put it off. But on the days when I actually do confront it and complete a task I've been putting off for a long time, I feel this huge wave of relief after it. And quite often for me it'll be health related, like I should go to the doctor about something but I haven't bothered because I've just been so busy that I've put it off for so long. And then when you finally go, there might be a simple solution to whatever problem you had, and it was just about sitting down and making the time to get it done. Like, it's really easy to constantly put things off and avoid the things that are boring that we don't want to do, but sometimes putting a day aside just to get that stuff done, it can be a huge relief to you. I feel like it's stored somewhere in your brain until you've finished it, so you feel so much lighter afterwards. Number 8 is to do a virtual tour of museums in different countries around the world. I know that this started during like lockdown. They started to put their exhibitions online so anyone can access it, and you can do a tour as if you're walking around it if you were there in real life. So I really enjoy doing that, and it's a nice way to pass the time, and it's much cheaper obviously than if you had to try to physically be there in person. And there's so many places that you might like to see but you just don't have the means to go there. Something a bit different to do with your time, and it can be really fun seeing all of the famous works of art that you didn't think you would get the chance to see otherwise. Number 9 is to start writing letters back and forth to a friend or family member. If you can get somebody on board who wants to do this too, or even finding like some form of a pen pal online. I think it's like an old-fashioned practice that sort of has died out, but that is really valuable, because I used to look forward so much to receiving letters from pen pals as a kid, and my mum always had pen pals because she had lived in France as well, and she had people that she kept in touch with that she couldn't see, so they would write each other letters and send little presents and stuff, and it's just nice to get something in the post, and it's like an old-fashioned little thing that brightens up your day. And then you can keep all the letters in a box and make a special like container just for them, and it just cheers you up looking through them again and reading over them. And I just like the idea of having a pen pal. Maybe it'd be even more interesting if it's somebody that you have known really well in your life, but that you are not able to be in physical contact with at the moment, because I'm sure there's so much you have to say to each other, but it can be hard to make the time sometimes to visit people or make phone calls. So it's another way to keep in touch without like having to come up with all this time that you don't feel like you have. And the final one, number 10, is to make up a game to play with friends, family members, or your partner, where you come up with kind of getting to know you questions and write them on little pieces of paper. And then they can pick one, and it's a really good way to get to know the people you're close to on a deeper level. You can ask questions about the most basic things, but it sort of makes you realise all of the things you don't think to ask, even your own partner, on a daily basis, or the things that you might have skipped over as you were getting to know each other. It's a really like personal little kind of game that strengthens friendships or relationships, and I think it could be really fun to come up with all of the questions for it and think of the most random ones you can. Like, what is your favourite sea creature? Or what was your favourite sweet as a kid? Or it could be like, what are your views on like marriage? It can be something really silly, or it can be something like that's a bigger question, but having a mixture just makes it varied, and I just think it would be a fun game to do. I actually might do that soon with my partner or force him into it. So I hope these help somebody, and if you have any ideas of your own or comments you want to share, feel free to post them below. Thanks to everybody for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and I will see you soon. Bye.